This is AI Marketing Experts, where bold marketers and next-gen AI collide. Each week, join us as we decode trends, test tools, and share real wins from the AI-powered front lines. No fluff, no hype, just straight talk and smarter marketing. Tap subscribe, and let's geek out on AI.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is Brad Kilgore here with yet another episode of AI Marketing Experts. We're always here having a good time, hanging out with our friends and talking the latest and greatest in the world of AI for business. And so today we have the great honor of having a longtime friend of ours to catch up on what's going on in his world and add some punch to our show. So without further ado, I want to introduce Jonathan Mast from Whitebeard Strategies. How are you today, Jonathan?
Brad, I'm doing well. Thank you. Excited to be here and chatting with everybody.
Good. Yeah, Jonathan and I have been friends, oh my gosh, at least 3 years. We've always had a great rapport and hung out many times in Miami. And now he's kind of globetrotting around, whether he's in Cancun or Alabama or Dominican Republic. He's all over the place. So we're glad you could squeeze us in today. So,
no, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to kind of just do what we always do, and that's have a little jam session and keep it loose, but try to bring as much gold nuggets and value to our viewers and listeners. If you haven't already, be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel, AI Marketing Experts. Hit us on the podcast channels, subscribe, follow, share, tell your friends about us, because we want to share the message that AI is not going away. And our whole goal is to share it with you so that you can leverage it in your business and see the power of what it can do for you. So with that, who would like to kind of round robin and hit some good questions over to Jonathan?
Well, I'll go ahead and start. And I think one thing that if anybody's followed Jonathan, he's heard him say many times that AI is not the easy button, it's an easier button. So Jonathan, do you have anything to enlighten our small business owners as they're trying to market using AI as to keep that balance of it's still human touch and with realistic effort, but also including AI for efficiency?
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good topic to bring up, Laura, because right now, a lot of people are talking about, as we're recording this, oh my goodness, people hate AI content. They don't want to watch AI content. They don't want to read AI content. It's got an EM dash and we can't, oh my gosh, you can't. So lots and lots of noise out there. Ultimately, I think it's just a great reminder, as you were saying, that AI is a tool that we use as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. It's something that amplifies our skill and experience. It's not something just to hand off to and let handle for us. So if we need, more time, which most of us do, and we use it to help write, say, social media posts or a memo or marketing copy, we shouldn't just type in a prompt and take what it does and copy paste. We should, obviously, when we're prompting, even make sure it knows our tone and style, make sure it understands our brand, who our audience is, and then we need to proof it. The good news is I can pound out a dozen social media posts that are great, high value to my audience in probably 20 or 30 minutes. And without AI, I could publish 1 or 2 in that same amount of time, probably 1. And so it absolutely helps efficiencies. It absolutely saves me a lot of time, but I can't just, so to speak, send it in and hope it's all okay. I've still got to be involved because it's amplifying my skill and my expertise and my experience.
Good. Well, and you mentioned prompting. I know you have a huge community, a huge following. So, kudos to that. That's fantastic. But obviously, there's still a lot of questions and discussion about doing proper prompting, and I know you've got your framework, et cetera. But what are you seeing regarding the questions, or what advice would you have to our marketing audience as to how to do even stronger prompting?
I think the first advice I give is when we start using AI, many of us, I'm going to say all of us, but I know I did, many of us turn into what I call prompt hoarders. In other words, all of a sudden we started going, I want this massive collection of all these cool prompts because we're amazed at what it can do. And we're like, oh my gosh, I want to have all these prompts. But if you've ever watched the show Hoarders, you know that stuff starts getting buried. And those hoarders can never find anything in their house because everything's buried under something else. That same exact thing happens when we start collecting prompts. We simply get too many of them. And so, Laura, as you know, I'm really keen on using a framework. I think frameworks apply in business in many areas, but especially when it comes to communicating with AI. And I believe if we do that, you can throw away all of the prompt hoarding. You don't have to worry about it, which, by the way, will save you a lot of time if you're not trying to do that. And when you have a need, you just follow the prompt framework. You ask AI. It works on ChatGPT. It works on Gemini. It works on Claude. It works on the Chinese models. It works everywhere. And it saves you a lot of time and energy.
Makes a lot of sense. Like I said, if you've got that group that keeps growing, prompting is definitely a hot topic still. So that's fantastic guidance.
Thank you.
You mentioned, Jonathan, frameworks, and you do talk a lot about frameworks, and I love that about you because it fits into my brain right really well as well, whether it's OCD or whatever we want to call it. But one of your frameworks I like are the concept around that four phased approach. So you know, the system, rather thinking of AI as a silver bullet, it's a support system with your research, relationships, relevance, response, that kind of thing. A little bit deeper on that, like for the audience here, because again, we've got a mix of newbies to people that maybe are using it with teams, enjoying the show for the tips at all different levels. That idea of sort of like really how to get your brain around what AI should be and shouldn't be, at least in its current stage right now. And I'm sure we'll talk about agents in a minute as well, but like start with that framework. How do you explain that to business owners to really try and get them to get it?
The simplest way I do is, John, if you and I are working on a project together and work, and in the old days when we actually had offices and cubicles and we worked next to each other, the prior pre-COVID stuff, if you and I couldn't communicate effectively, we couldn't work together. And it's really the exact same thing with AI. You need to communicate with it effectively. They call that prompting, but when you think about it, it's the same things we've learned to do. So if I need something from you and you and I are in cubicles next to each other, I don't just pop my head over and go, John, do this, and then sit back down. Because John's likely to look at me and, not necessarily, John, you're a nice guy, but other people are likely to look at me. And that's what I'm going to get the middle finger from everybody. Exactly. So what do? We learn that before I do that, even when I really need help and it's urgent, I walk over and I go, hey, John, can you do me a favor? I'm nice. I'm smiling. And John goes, oh, yeah, I can help you. What's going on? Oh, thank you so much. We build rapport. We move all that. Well, we need to do all those things other than build rapport with the AI model too. And what I recommend is a simple 4-step process. The first is really simple. This I don't have to do with people, but I need to tell them what type of expert they're acting as because AI has been trained on everything. Secondly, I need to give it some context. And this is what most people fail. They go, let's say we're writing a press release. John, write me a press release. And then it writes a press release and it's very lackluster and probably has the wrong facts in it. And they go, well, this AI stuff, it sucks. Well, no, it doesn't, but you didn't give it any context. You didn't tell it who the press release was for, why we were writing it, who the audience was. So we need to give it context. Step 3 is we need to ask it our question. That's what we typically do as a prompt now. Write me a press release. But step 4 in my mind, John, is probably the most important. And maybe it's because I'm an ADD entrepreneur and I can't remember stuff. My wife says CRS, I can't remember stuff. Sometimes we put a different S word in there. But it's asking at the end. It's saying, ask me any questions you have. And literally, I just add that phrase to the end of my prompt. Ask me any questions you have. And the beauty is at that point, regardless of the AI model you're going to do, it will evaluate your question, step 3, and then go, wow, I'm missing like 4 bits of information here that Jonathan didn't give me. So guess what? It'll now ask me those 4 pieces. And when I give it the answers, the quality of the response I get goes up by magnitudes. So it's really those 4 simple steps. What type of expert, context, question, and then end it with ask me any questions you have.
And the good advice about that, or the good point about that, is that every model upgrade that we've all watched over the last year or two, that last little bit of ask me any question, when I learned that from you, the quality of the questions keep getting better, right? So originally it was just sort of like fairly generic. Now it's like it just seems like as the models get better, that whatever the back end, the thinking process that's in place, the quality of the questions have actually that it asks us back again with that prompt are like get you thinking even more and more about, oh my God, I didn't even think of that. And your answer goes down a deeper rabbit hole, which is kind of where you want to go to get the right output. So yeah, I love that.
If I can jump in, I have a question, Jonathan. How do you recommend business owners get out of the how ChatGPT can often tell us what we want to hear. It can be very flattering and tell us how right we are and how good we are. Yeah. And so how do you explain to small business owners that there needs to be some sort of boundary with that? You need to tell it to be maybe not a contrarian, but how you advise them to handle that.
I think the first part you nailed right, Jen, which is just understanding that by default, it's trained to be the most complimentary, accommodating thing you can imagine. And most of us know in business, we don't need another yes person on our team. That's not ultimately going to help us. It feels good some days and it sounds good, makes us, but at the end of the day, we really want that kind of iron sharpens iron, challenge me. And so what I do often with most of my prompts and certainly my custom GPTs is I simply tell it, please challenge my ideas, push boundaries, and help me create the best possible solution for my goal. And by just doing that, instead of being overly nice and going, wow, Jonathan, that's a brilliant idea when it was only an okay idea, or maybe even a crummy idea. Now it can ask me questions about what's your end objective and how are we trying to get there? Or it might say, well, if you're trying to market this, that idea is one, but how about this? Or did you consider this? And basically you just give it permission, Jen, to challenge you in order to achieve your objective in the best possible way. And doing that really does increase the value in my mind.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I would have to say I have learned a lot already, from double birds to contrarians. I think if there was going to be a title of this episode, that would be the title. The TV shows that, the one with such and such or whatever. But my question, Jonathan, has more to do with, and I know we've kind of touched on this on our show before, is, for anybody right now, whether you're a small, medium, or large business owner, all you have to do is look on YouTube for about 15 minutes and go, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should use Gemini or Claude or Perplexity or ChatGPT or GenSpark or, the list goes on and on. And you mentioned earlier, there are some that are in foreign countries and different things like that. And so for the layman out there who's just trying to get their feet wet going, I don't know where the heck to turn, what would be your guidance on that to say, okay, there's a lot of noise out there. There's new stuff every week. By the time our show is edited and put out on the channels, it's already a couple weeks old sometimes. So I know when I'm looking at YouTube every night on my tablet, I'm going, okay, yeah, this video is 3 weeks old. It's too old. I'm not even looking at it. It's amazing how fast it's going and how quickly it's changing and morphing and everything else. And so I just wanted to get your opinion on that, of what you would advise business owners to do.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm 56 now, and I have not seen my entire career up to 54 when I started getting into AI 2 years ago. There's been more change in AI in the last 2 years than what I saw in any industry I've been involved in the prior 30. I mean, it's just amazing how fast things are moving. But instead of getting overwhelmed with it, my advice to business owners is take a look at the tools that you have available to you today. If you're a Microsoft shop, you've got Copilot. If you're a Google shop, you're going to have Google Gemini. If you don't have any of those, you've probably got ChatGPT. If not, you can use Meta.ai for free. You can use Mistral.ai for free. There's a lot of others. Any of those tools will allow you to leap ahead of where you would be without AI. So instead of always trying to stay on that cutting edge, always making sure you know the latest and greatest, use what you have to make massive jumps in your productivity, to save literally hours a day in what you can do and your team. And then as you begin to master them, you'll go, man, this isn't quite doing what I want. I wish I had a better tool for this. Then start looking for tools in those areas. But especially when we're getting started, focus on the major tools. Even myself, believe it or not, I generally use 3 AI tools every single day. And they're not specialty tools. It's ChatGPT, it's Google Gemini, and it's Perplexity. Now, there are some others that I may throw in occasionally, but really it's ChatGPT and Google Gemini that I use on a daily basis for AI, and Perplexity is my search engine. I'm doing hundreds of prompts a day. I'm literally pretty much from the time I wake up in the morning until the time I go to sleep using AI to learn things, to figure things out. And those 2 tools, ChatGPT and Gemini, for me, cover over 90% of all my needs. And it's not worth the time. Kind of like I talked with Laura, you don't want to be a prompt hoarder and take all the time to go find the perfect prompt. Don't try to find the perfect engine. Most of the AI tools that you run across that are specialty for your industry, maybe you're a mechanic and you're like, oh, this is made for mechanics. Well, yeah, but it's still built on top of ChatGPT, or it's still built on top of Gemini. So why not just use those tools and save yourself a lot of time, effort, and frustration?
Absolutely. It's amazing. Oh, real quick, I was just going to piggyback off that, Jen, is how quickly it's changing now with search engines,
Oh, yeah.
Google now is showing AI recommendations or AI overviews. And we've been fortunate to be able to get some of our clients showing up in there as well. And we know that there's browsers and all kinds of new stuff coming down the pike that it's just going to keep shifting. But it's crazy how quickly we're so used to just going, hey, go to Google or go to Bing or whatever it was. And those things are all going to shift pretty quickly too. So I don't know that we need to deep dive into that right this minute, because I know Jen had a really awesome question, but we can keep that one on the table too.
Well, actually, it's along the same lines, because I was just going to say, not a question, but maybe it leads to that. But just evidence of how fast and severely AI has changed. Jonathan, I know, right? Like today, you're saying that Gemini is one of your favorites, your top 3, and it was it? I don't know, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, maybe that you were like, Gemini, like
it was garbage when it came out. I'll be the first one to admit, absolutely.
Yeah. So what changed with Gemini for you?
Well, Google released a new version, which we started on this, almost 2 years ago, and Google came out with Bard and it sucked. And then Google came out with Gemini and it sucked. And it was like, literally we'd gotten to the point, there were so many other options out there, Jen. It was like, never mind, Google was a search dominant. I was having discussions with people about the fact that Google may be done long-term because they've missed this wave, and it is so important. And it spent almost 18 months and had never developed anything worth using. And it appeared they were out of the game. And then it's almost like they said, no, never mind. We were playing hide and seek. Look what we've got. And they brought out version 2.5, and it is on par or better than anything else that's out there right now. While everybody else is worried about shrinking down how much you can use it with, even on paid plans, and they're restricting things, Google's actually taking the other tact. They've even pretty much opened up most of their tools to their AI studio for free. Now, not all, but most. And I think personally, is looking back to how Google's done business, they're trying to put so much pressure on these other models that the other models either alienate people or they fold or whatever, that Google gets that market share back. The good news is they're going to have to continue to do a great product. And you're right, things change. Just the other day, I did a training talking about agentic AI, new AI agents. And we talked about tools like Manus and GenSpark and the new AI browsers, which are so new, most people haven't even heard of them yet, but it's AI baked into your browser. Those things didn't exist 60 days ago. But today they do, and they're things that I use almost daily. In fact, my default browser is no longer Google Chrome. It's actually Comet from Perplexity, which is an AI-based browser. And it's the things it can do will blow my mind away. Literally, Jen, I could go on in Comet and I could say right now, book me an appointment with Jen Kriego tomorrow at 10 a.m. and send her an invitation. And it would go into my Google Calendar because it's connected to it. It would find out if I'm available. It would go check my email to find your email address if you were in my address book, or if I've ever sent you a message, or if you've ever sent me one. It would then come back and say, here, I found Jen's information for 10 o'clock tomorrow. Do you want me to send it? All I have to do is confirm before it's done. And just like that, it'll send it. And then if I mess up, I can go, oh, drat, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted it to be for 2 weeks out. Can you send Jen an apology email and update the invitation? By the way, that's all I have to say. It will literally write the email and go, Jen, this is Jonathan. I'm so sorry. I meant to do it for 2 weeks. I inadvertently got in a hurry. I did it now. I hope you don't mind. Apologize for any confusion. I'll write a great email, something like that. And it will update the calendar invitations all for me. I don't ever have to go into Gmail. I don't ever have to go into my calendar. It's literally not quite, but we're very close to that Iron Man Jarvis moment when Iron Man would just tell Jarvis what he wanted done and it would happen. And I mean, the level at which it's getting is just, it's amazing. Just this morning, I talked to a guy, he's an IT engineer. He's much smarter than I am, but he had to redo a router table, whatever that means. And it means he had to connect into his Cisco gear to do it. He used an agentic AI and basically said, here's what I want done. Here's the protocols. Here's the SOP we need to follow. He said it would have been like an 8-hour job of literally just entering numbers, doing stuff. The agent connected to the Cisco dashboard, asked him to log in. He had to log in and give it permission. And then he said, go. And the agent in about 10 minutes got it all done. And he'd spent 2 hours proofing it to make sure it was right. And he couldn't find a single error.
That kind of dovetails into that the whole idea of agents acting on goals, not prompts, right? Seems
Correct.
to be the direction we're going. And you're mentioning Google being good. And I'm following. If anybody listened to the Lex Fridman podcast with Demis Hazzabis, however you pronounce his last name, the CEO of DeepMind Technologies, and like he was a chess champion at 4 years old. The guy's brilliant, and he is the guy running the show, fully believing that we might only be 5 years away from artificial general intelligence, and how fast the world is moving around us. So again, anybody listening to this podcast, it's all about getting in, playing around, keeping up, and stuff like that. And then even somebody else I follow that's really prominent as well, Raoul Paul, he's a global macroeconomist. He kind of jumped into the crypto world, but he's from Real Vision, is the operation he runs. And he just so the two of them just had these 2 talks I listened to within the last like 48, 72 hours. And Rule's talking about the 4-year liquidity cycle and, markets and making money and stuff like that. And we might be at the last one of those because we don't know. We're at the edge of a cliff. We're all barreling towards an unknown because of AI taking over, like having the ability to do what you just said and solve problems that quickly. How do we as humans reconcile with that? Having robotics take on AI as well. So we got Demis creating it. We got Google and everybody, all these guys fighting against each other to get better and better and better. So the arms race is well on. And, again, every week there's something new that shocks us.
Yeah.
We're in the weeds on it. And then we've got a macroeconomist going, the entire model of our planet, financial planet, work life thing is upheaval. We don't even know where we're going. What keeps you awake at night? What do you think is sort of the next 6 month direction? I don't think we can see 5 years, but 6 months, a year, 2 out. Where do you kind of see businesses and people in general using AI, or how it fits in?
I think we're going to see the advent of a lot more AI appliances, shall I say, for lack of a better description. To answer your question, what keeps me up at night? Nothing. I'm not worried about it. You know what? We had people fearful when the printing press came out, when the steam engine came out, when the internal combustion engine came out, when PCs came out, when the internet came out. They were all wrong. Will there be issues? Yeah, there will. But you know what? We as humans, we're pretty smart folk, all things considered. We'll figure it out. And I'm not worried about AI being sentient. So, I'm just not even concerned about that. But I do think we're going to see more AI appliances. So a great example is I have this little thing right here. I bought it the other day, clips on my shirt. I'm headed to Mexico and then the Dominican Republic for some speaking engagements. And one of the things I struggle with when I'm talking to a group of people, not when I'm on stage, but afterwards, when you're chatting and you're having drinks and all that, I forget. I can't remember everything I've talked about. And this little device literally clips on, it's magnetic, and it will record about 8 hours of conversation for me. It's linked into AI, and then it starts analyzing that conversation and reminds me that, oh, you talked to John about this, and you talked to Laura about this, you talked to Jen about that. You promised Brad you were going to follow up with him. And I think we're going to see things like that that are a lot more common than we have right now. The other thing I think that's going to change, getting the kind of economics and stuff, just an idea that my wife and I recently bought a vehicle, and you buy a vehicle, you got to go to the F&I department, even though we didn't finance it, but you got to go through all the warranty stuff. And candidly, what we were told we were buying and what we ended up finding out we bought on the paperwork were two totally different things. So I went back to the dealership and I said, well, since you've got signs all over saying that you record all conversations on video, can we pull the video and see what he said? Well, guess what? They didn't want to do that. They weren't going to do that. I couldn't talk them into doing that. They ended up giving the money back for the extra stuff we bought. It all worked out. But had I had one of these that I was wearing at the time, I could have said, well, if you can't pull the video, no problem. Let me tell you what your guys lied about. And it would have changed the entire dynamic. So I think there's a lot of things, John, and that's really small. Yeah. We don't even know what we don't know yet, because the reality is that F&I guy at that car dealership, who is probably been getting away with lying to customers for years, and most of them going, and never mind, it's not worth fighting with the dealership, won't be able to pull that anymore, because he's literally, I could have taken that and sent it to the state or whomever I needed to, and it would have obviously gotten resolved very quickly before it got to that. But we're going to see things like that are happening that I think are going to be on a positive note. It's going to make people have more integrity. We're also going to see things that are going to be less so. We're going to, pictures nowadays. John, you and I know you cannot believe a picture that you see that it's accurate, because I can literally grab a screenshot of the Zoom call we're doing right now, load your image up, and I can put you inside a brothel. And if you don't have the right reputation, nobody's going to know. You could say it's not true, but nobody's going to know it. Now, is that likely to happen to you or I? No, but imagine in politics. Imagine other areas like that. I was talking to a home services marketing company yesterday. Imagine you're a roofer and you have somebody that you've ticked off. It happens when you're in business, and that they take your image from one of your videos or your website, and they create a video from that, which can be done nowadays, of you standing at their front door screaming and yelling profanities at them.
Yeah.
That can be done today. So those are things that we don't know what's going to happen. Am I scared of it? No, I'm not. We as humans have always figured it out. We'll figure it out again. Not too worried about it. But anyway, those are just some things I see happening. A lot of it, though, unfortunately, it's just over the horizon, John. Yeah. And I can't see well enough to know if that makes sense.
I'm going to jump right in, if you don't mind, John. Did you finish?
Oh, that's question? Perfect. Yeah.
Well, one, to what you were first describing, Jonathan, regarding the email and how you're just able to say, can you set an appointment and stuff? I've been amazed at the type of emails that it automatically, based on me just saying I need an appointment, blew me away. But to what you were just discussing with John, what advice can we continue to give to the small business owners, saying, okay, this is where to keep the guardrails on, or, when you're having an agent now go and find this, that, or the other to purchase, to make sure that, not put your credit card just automatic, or have it go retrieve credit card information, to make sure that's still manual. What other kind of just safety precautions, or something like, okay, don't jump off the cliff here. Consider keeping yourself safe with, of course, not putting that very personal information out there. But what else would you advise?
I'm going to sound a little traditional. I think there's two easy ways to do it. When it comes to finances, if you wouldn't share it in public, don't put it with AI, period. Mm-hmm. So, now, could I share my credit card bill without any personal identifiable information? Yeah, I'd probably be comfortable doing that, as long as the account information, because again, it's not personally identifiable. If somebody found that in my trash and it didn't have my name or my account numbers, I'm really not risking a whole lot. Would I upload my credit card details? Nope, not a chance. The other part of it, and this is where I'm going to sound really traditional, if you wouldn't say it in church, you probably don't want to say it to AI. Now, also, keep in mind that computers know so much more about us now than we even give them credit for. I'll give you a very simple example. My wife and I 2 weeks ago tomorrow, today, we were at the Pensacola Air Show in Pensacola Beach, Florida. And we decided to go for a walk on the pier afterwards. And there was, thousands of people leaving. We didn't want to fight traffic. And we noticed there were all kinds of people that had these really cool, like sun tents. I'd never really seen them before, never paid much attention, but it was hot and sunny. And I made a comment as we're on the pier. One of the tents had like the brand name on it. And I said that to my wife, and I'm like, we should look into getting one of those. I wonder how much they are. That'd be very useful. We had about 5 minutes before we got back to our car. It was hot, again, tons of traffic. So we turned the car on, let it cool down. And I, of course, popped onto Facebook. The first thing I saw on Facebook was an ad for that company. I have never looked for it before. I'd never heard of the company before, but I said it in a conversation to my wife, Beth, 5 minutes before. My phone was in my pocket, and it heard it and then marketed to me. The second thing I saw was an ad from one of their competitors for another brand. So I think we're the horse is out of the barn, so to speak. We're way past being worried about our privacy and what things know about us. The best we can do now is try to keep that personally identifiable information out of their hands. That's the best you can hope for at this point.
Well, yeah, your car is listening to you, your phone, your computer, everything.
Mark Zuckerberg was on an interview not that long ago, and somebody happened to notice the interview. I think it was Diary of a CEO or one of those. And he looked over and said, "You have a piece of tape over your camera on your laptop." And he goes, "Oh yeah, everybody should." And that's the head of Meta. It's like, wow. So anyways, yeah, we're digitized and out there already.
So that horse has long left the barn. Yeah. It's not coming back.
Yeah.
So if there is somebody that's listening that's like, wait a minute, I want to be that company that pops up on Jonathan's Facebook feed. Is there anything with AI that you're saying, okay, this is a system that would allow you to be capturing that interest?
Well, candidly, if that happened, I'm going to refer him to one of you guys to talk to, because you know a lot more about digital marketing than I do. I've been out of it now for a couple of years, as far as exactly how to do it. But it brings up an interesting point, if I can pivot just a little bit, Laura. And that's this whole concept of, is SEO changing? What about this new concept of AEO or whatever they want to call it nowadays? And I personally believe, in what I'm seeing, is that, yeah, it is changing, because a few years back, if you were a chiropractor in Jacksonville and you ranked well for best chiropractor in Jacksonville, you were going to get a lot of phone calls. But keep in mind that, one, every search engine or AI wants to deliver the best possible results, because that's how they keep people using their tool. Many, many people are using ChatGPT and AI tools now as search engines. And so ChatGPT is becoming a search engine, and Gemini is becoming a search engine, and all others. That means now that they want to deliver the best. And they've learned that just because somebody has the keyword best chiropractor in Jacksonville doesn't mean they're the best chiropractor in Jacksonville. So now they're looking for what Google told us was going to come. Google actually shared this with us. I may get it wrong. Tell me if I get the EEAT thing wrong, but experience, expertise, authority, and trust.
Yeah.
And those things are more important now than ever, because we need to demonstrate that. And the good news is we can use AI assisted content. Let me underscore the assisted part to help do that. There's no way I could write enough content to become an expert without AI, because some of my smart competitors will leverage AI to write really helpful, really valuable content. And when the AI or search engines look at that volume and go, okay, there's 2 chiropractors, one's got 3 videos up and the other's got 17 or 70. And wow, the guy with 70 is answering all these questions that those questions match the questions we're hearing. They're going to send to the guy that did 70 or the lady that did 70.
Yeah.
Marcus Sheridan wrote a book called They Ask You Answer. And it's probably, in my mind, the simplest way to do this. As a business owner nowadays, you need to understand the questions that your audience is asking, and you need to answer them, not one a month, not one a week, but probably one every single day. Because if you don't, your competitors will. And then whatever we're using for search is going to look at it, and it is going to be a bit of a numbers game. And they're going to go, well, geez, if it's between John and Laura, and John's got 70 videos answering the same questions that our users are asking, and Laura's got 7 videos, well, Laura's going to be number 2 on the list.
Yeah. And it's even going to go out and look at, is the community talking about one business or the other as well, like social media and all, because the old days of having to create a backlink and go, oh, Google, look, I'm over here too. Can you find this? And then follow it back to my website, or whatever. Entity rankings, entity SEO, especially within the AI era and massive data knowledge and speed. You don't need to create a link around your brand name or hyperlinked text and that kind of thing. You just have to get mentioned. And by getting mentioned, it becomes part of this web ecosphere that already does. So it actually means be a better business, get the word out. Like just like Jen talks about all the time on our podcast and all is about, building your authentic brand, like using tools, but using real things. Don't fake it. Be really great and authentic. So
yeah. Authenticity matters more than anything, especially with AI, because you don't want to sound like ChatGPT. You don't want your marketing material to sound like ChatGPT. The good news is ChatGPT can sound like you with just a little bit of effort.
Yeah,
true. Very, very true.
Jonathan, what do you say to those? I mean, we've all seen the videos on YouTube that are saying you don't need a marketer. You can do your own marketing with AI. Now that we have AI, what do you say to that? Do you agree? Disagree?
Good question. So the technically, let me answer it. Yes, you could do your own marketing with AI, whether you have any experience or not. You could have done it before AI too. AI will just make you crash faster is the only thing that's going to be the difference. It's like, if I don't know how to drive and you put me in an old car that can go 5 miles an hour, I'm going to crash. If you put me in a Ferrari and I don't know how to drive, I'm going to crash faster. And that's the same thing.
I love that.
I am not a cardiologist, but I could play one with using ChatGPT. But if you allowed me to go ahead and do heart surgery on you, you'd be an idiot and I'd probably be in jail because I don't have any skill and experience there to amplify. So to that person that's looking at it and going, wow, I can use it to do my own marketing. You can, you're right. I wouldn't, because I truly believe it's like taking somebody that can't drive and putting them in a car that goes 5 miles an hour and putting them in a Ferrari. The AI, by the way, is the Ferrari side. You're going to simply crash faster because you don't know what to tell the AI in order to leverage it to do it well. On the same token, I've got a lot of marketing experience. You guys have even more. If somebody that has experience uses that, now they're going to be able to create even better content faster than they could before. And the good news is, if you're working with a reputable agency, that means you're going to get more value at the end of the day. And for me, I mean, there's a reason I pay somebody to mow my lawn, and it's not because I'm not willing to do it. It's because for $45, I get to save 3 hours. That's a really good return on investment. As a small business owner, is it really worth me saving a few hundred or even a few $1,000s a month if I don't get any sales? Because the most expensive marketing I can do is marketing that fails. Doesn't matter how cheap it is. Sorry, I'm on a soapbox. It reminds me years ago, I remember walking into a bridal store. This is so far long ago. We actually used to knock on doors and prospect, if you can believe that, if you're watching this podcast. And I was doing that, and I knocked on the door of a bridal shop. And at the time, my agency I was trying to sell websites. And this bridal store didn't have a website. And I went in and talked to the owner, and he's like, I don't need a website. I've got one. I'm like, wow, I couldn't find it. He goes, no, my brother-in-law did one. I don't need one. He goes, it doesn't work anyway. And I'm like, well, how much did you pay your brother-in-law? He goes, it was free. That's why I won't pay you for one. I'm like, but didn't you just say it won't work? He goes, well, yeah, that's why I'd never pay anybody, because it doesn't work. And I said, do you think there's a chance that it didn't work because your brother-in-law did it for free as opposed to, and I said, you've got these beautiful gowns in here. Wouldn't it be better just to go to the fabric store and, have somebody, well, which is not going to be the same quality and blah, blah. And I said, same thing, same exact thing. So yeah, I guess Jen's quick answer, before I do my own marketing with AI, I'd ask myself, would I recommend my customers use AI to do whatever it is I do?
Yep.
Good point.
Great analogies.
Well, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brad.
No, you're good, Laura.
Well, back to, you have provided so many gold nuggets and so many things that anyone listening is going to be able to run with. But to your point that you're writing prompts all day long, is there one or maybe two AI tips or tasks that you're like, every day I would say to embed this particular thing in your small business so that, or medium business or large business, that can move them forward?
Yeah, I would. Every business owner, every entrepreneur needs to create a custom GPT inside of ChatGPT. It's the best way to do it right now. Technically, you do it in a Claude project or you could do it in a Google Gem, but you should do it in custom in ChatGPT. I'll share why in a moment. And it should reflect your tone, your style, and your values. And then anybody in your company that communicates for you or that you need to make sure your voice is heard in and it's represented well needs access to that tool. The great thing is it's easy to do, literally in about 15 minutes. You can go out to 16personalities.com. You can go ahead, and there's better ways, but you can get it started. Just put in your personality profile and make sure then that your team has access. So on my customer service team, for example, when they write emails, they have a custom GPT they go to. It's in ChatGPT, but they load it up and it's preloaded with Jonathan's tone and style, Jonathan's values, Whitebeard Strategies tone and style, how we handle things. All of that's in there. And so when a customer writes in, even for, I didn't get this link, could you send it to me? Or everything gets written in that context. And now guess what? If Faith, who's my customer service person, who's amazing, happens to be sick for the day, anybody on my team can hop in, open that GPT and answer the question because they have my same tone and style. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be on target for where we need to be. And the one time it's not, it's going to be close, and or my team's going to catch it because they're going to go, oh yeah, that's not quite right. But if nothing else, every entrepreneur and business owner needs that. And you need that by the end of the day today.
Yeah. Perfect. Get her done.
Yeah. Get her done.
Well, I think that like Laura just shared, there was a lot of truth bombs and gold nuggets that just came in. And
well, can I ask one more then?
Yes, you can.
You mind? I just, before you wrap or wherever you're going, I just want to know, what question do you wish we would have asked today? What is one thing that you're thinking, wow, that would have been a question to bring it home?
You know, I really think you covered a lot of the major tools. The most common ones I get are, what tool should I be using? Oh my gosh, there's so many. We talked about that. The one you have available is best. How do I communicate? How do I prompt? How do I get good responses? We kind of covered that. We got that taken care of. And then, you know, Brad brought up, but what about the overwhelm? You know, what about these people that are like, oh my gosh, what do I do next? There's so much news. Yeah, there is. It's okay. Take a pill, sleep well. It's all good. By using, let me summarize with this. As an entrepreneur, you have 2 risks right now. One is using AI and finding out it's not perfect. That is true. The other is not using AI and having your competition do it and realize that it is so much better than not using it, that a year from now, you're out of business because they were able to serve your clients better. They were able to serve them more efficiently. And oh, by the way, they were able to make more money because they were more profitable than you were.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Good point.
That was my last question, but I wanted to just get that in.
Oh, that's
I'm glad
good.
you did.
That's good. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap for the day. It's Friday. I think everybody's looking forward to the weekend, sunshine, and all that good stuff. So with that, I want to say thank you, Jonathan, for jumping on. Not only are you a friend and a mentor to us and to so many other people, what you bring to the table is really helpful to those listening. So thank you.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's always fun having a chat with you guys, and look forward to doing it again.
Absolutely.
And gals, I should say. That's not fair. Got to say guys and gals.
So we will close out the AI Marketing Experts show for the week. Be sure and follow us, share us, tell your friends about us, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks, guys.
Bye.